Okay, good evening. We'll call the Thursday, May 2nd Town of Rome Board meeting to order. Roll call starting on my left, please.
Evenson here.
Minter here.
Jumati here.
Cole here.
Gabriel here.
Certify the posting of the meeting, please.
I certify that on Tuesday, April 30th, 2024, the agenda for the Town of Rome Board meeting for Thursday, May 2nd, 2024 was posted at Rome Town Hall at 10:50 a.m., Quick Trip LLC at 11:20 a.m., Nakusa Port Edward State Bank, 11:05 a.m., email to the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune at 10:56 a.m.
Okay, thank you. Approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
Second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Gabriel, second by Supervisor Cole to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, do we have any citizen comment cards? Okay. I'll commence with the second half. The board will also take comment from the public on agenda items as called by the chair, but not during citizen comment. Please note that once the board begins discussion on an agenda item, no further comment will be allowed from the public on that issue. No action contemplated except possible referral to a future agenda. Number 7, informational updates, meeting recaps, recent correspondence, current events, and announcements. Discussion and possible action on the following items. Number 8, discussion and action, approval of the April 8th. Oh, I'm very sorry. I did that rather quickly. Well, it's long, and somebody said we'll be here till 11. I'm sorry, Supervisor Evenson.
I have nothing.
Supervisor Minter. I have nothing. Supervisor Cole?
Oh, I have a few things.
Okay.
There is Traversing the Trails, Friday, May 3rd. That's a hike that Visit Rome sponsors once a month, and you can look for information on that. Visit Rome website, which is visitromewi.com, where you should go for any tourism information. Opening day for the farmers market is May 17th from 9 until 1 o'clock. And then I mentioned this before, but there is an event to raise money for a future canine for the Rome Police Department. That is Dash for the Dogs, a canine fundraiser on Saturday, May 25th. You'll want to participate, get a t-shirt for yourself, cute bandana for your dog. It ends at the Up North Brewery, so that's kind of a cool thing. And then if you want to know official information about the town, you go to the town's official website, romewi.com.
Nothing.
Supervisor Gabriel. All right. Now we can move on. Discussion and possible action on the following items. Number 8, discussion and action of the approval of the April 18th, 2024 meeting minutes.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Cole to approve the April 18th, 2024 meeting minutes, a second by Supervisor Evenson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action. Approval of Police Chief recommendation for Shermalat Ski Team to hold water exhibition event on June 29th, 2024, Lake Arrowhead, starting at 8 a.m. as authorized in Town Code 137, Boating and Waterways, Article 1, Water Traffic, Boating and Water Sports, Section 6, Races, Regattas, Sporting Events, and Exhibitions.
The ski team's just requesting to start at 8 a.m. for this event versus 10 a.m., so I'd recommend approval. It's a swivel ski competition. So their normal permit, they have permits from us for all of their shows, but this falls outside of the normal, so I put it on the agenda for you to consider.
Move to approve the June 29th, 2024 event for the Shermalat Ski Team as recommended by the police chief with a start time of 8 a.m.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Gabriel to approve the police chief's recommendation for an early start time of 8 a.m. for the Shermalat Ski Team water exhibition at Lake Arrowhead. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action, approval of resolution number 24, providing for the sale of approximately 2,270,000 general obligation promissory notes, series 2024A. Jason, did you want to offer any discussion?
From the last board meeting, this is the resolution, so this was approved at the last board meeting. This is just the formality for the sale to go through of the note.
Were there any questions for Jason?
I'll move to approve, resolution number 24, providing for the sale of approximately 2,270,000 general obligation promissory notes, series 2024A.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Cole, second by Supervisor Evenson for the approval of resolution number 24, providing for sale of approximately 2,270,000 general obligation promissory notes, series 2024A. Discussion. Jason, if we just want to share too, we had a conversation with Greg Ellers, and he said the sale of those would take place on, I believe, May 16th, and we'll have the specifics of all of that. Melissa, maybe you can share too, that then we'll be able to share with the board exactly what the details of that would be. Last year, we had some pretty good information on how the sale of that went and the credits and the savings that we experienced because of our good credit ratings. So we'll have that later in the day on May 16th.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
It'll be on the 9th and the sale will be on the 16th.
Yeah, the rating on the 9th, the Moody's rating on the 9th, and the sale on the 16th. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Discussion and possible action. Consideration of existing 2024 various town asphaltic pavement and chip sealing projects for bids for A, replace asphaltic pavement on Akron Drive from County Highway Z to State Highway 13. I'll start with Archer Avenue from 15th Avenue to County Highway Z, Rapids Trail from 15th Avenue to Quiet Waters Trail. Replace asphaltic pavement wedge and overlay on Canterbury Court, asphaltic pavement overlay Woodbridge Court, Eaton Court, Aldrich Court. 3/8 chip seal FA2 chip seal Archer Lane from County Highway Z to termination. 3/8 chip seal and FA2 chip seal Leisure Lane. And approved change order to add Abbey Court cold mix surface not to exceed 15,000. Brad, if you would please come up for discussion.
Okay.
And we should look at this newest handout you gave us and in addition to the one that was in our packet, right? The notes.
Yeah, I guess we'll start with the analysis I put together. We opened the bids, and bids actually came in very, very good. We got very good numbers. Appreciate both and all contractors that put numbers in on these. You'll notice on Archer Avenue, that project, Earth Incorporated was a low bid. You'll see also in the pack is a summary sheet of each contractor. I won't go through that. I'll just let you know that Earth Incorporated was a low bid on that one. Akron Drive, Scott Construction was a low bid. Rapids Trail was Scott Construction. Canterbury Court, also Scott Construction. Leisure Lane, the chip seal, Scott Construction, and Archer Lane chip seal was Scott Construction. In the packet, you'll see there is the detailed breakdown from each contractor and their prices for each of those projects. The total then for the work that we put out for is the 1.78 million. And I would like to note that the Abbey Court, since the bids were put out and we did some more snow plowing, there's a portion of that road that has gotten torn up pretty bad, so that's why that was not bid out, but we like to add that under the assumption of not to exceed the 15,000. which would then bring our total road work up to the 1.79 million. On that spreadsheet I gave you just tonight, you'll see there, the expenses to date are roughly the 54,000. And there's a detail of what each of those are. We have the estimated anticipated expenses. They have to come out of this account yet this year. And those are shown, each one's broken out for you, with a total of that of about 247,000. So, to summarize that on the bottom, out of our budget, from the beginning of the year, we budgeted $362,281.63 for road work. With now the loan of the 2.27 million, that brings our total for 2024 to $2.632 million. If we approve all these expenses of the projects tonight and what we have expenses to date and anticipated expenses, it brings our total to that just under 2.1 million, which leaves us with an extra 535,000. My first suggestion is, if we want to spend that extra 535,000, would be to do a pulverize and pave on Akron Drive. This will be to the east side of Highway 13. A couple years ago, we did an overlay, and we'll start where we stopped that overlay and then keep going east to 7th Ave. Estimate that cost to be $475,000, but that we would have to bid out, which then would bring our, our unspent money out of the loan and what we had budgeted to basically $60,000, which I think would be a comfortable amount to have in case there happens to be an overrun or some unexpected expense that would come up during the year. Any questions on the bids as they're received or the costs?
I have some questions.
Okay.
Okay. So I like what you've done here, but I have some questions about the money that we're taking the loan. When we originally discussed that, if we could just back up to last year a little bit. You have on your new sheet that you handed out, and it was on the original sheet that came in our packet. Last year we had a discussion regarding general engineering with Apache and the culvert. And I don't have any of those notes with me now, but did we budget, do you recall, engineering costs when we had that conversation last year? Well, we have 2 new board members. For that culvert and that work, there were engineering expenses, and you were doing some survey work to save us some money. And there was the LGRIP was for Longbow, but didn't we budget some money and spend some money last year already for some of that work on Apache?
No.
We didn't. So what did we have them do for us last year already?
Last year you approved to have them do the design, but they weren't gonna send a bill until after the first of the year, so it was in this year's budget, not 2023.
So we had already budgeted for that.
Yes.
So it's in the budget. So was that coming out of your 365 already? That was budgeted?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that was coming out of the 365 already. And that was about $75,000 or wait a minute, are these the numbers in the red? Because I guess what I'm trying to zero in on is that we're not packing anything more into the loan than we had already anticipated, because I think we originally talked that if the road bids came in less, we were gonna hold money aside if we found newer projects, avoid using the loan, shall I say, for anything that's like general maintenance that would come out of GTA funds, like chip sealing or crack filling or other items you would have for your regular road maintenance, and save it for other road projects like that would be major road repairs. Say if we wanted to do another road like 14th Avenue, because there was that carryover money that we were supposed to have had that we realized when you found good road base under 14th Avenue. We had that additional 47,000 that was left over. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I don't want to dig into that. If Jackie may remember that conversation, Dan may remember that. If we had this extra money in this loan that we're taking, we'd save that for major road repairs, not general maintenance.
Yep, and now this is being done for general maintenance.
Okay.
And everything that's on here was approved in the 5-year plan last year.
Right, right.
The only thing I'm suggesting we move up, which is in our 5-year plan to do in 2025, would be if you want to spend more of that loan, would be to move up the Akron Drive east of Highway 13 and do it this year. Or if you want to save that money, for next year, carry it over. Right now, with all
Yeah, I
the numbers
see.
coming in, there's $535,000 extra dollars to spend.
Okay.
And my suggestion is to do Akron Drive, which is on our plan to do next year anyways. Move it up to this year.
What about 16th Avenue, which is seeing some, I'm wondering, what do you think about 16th Avenue, which is seeing some really major issues?
If you like to, we could do that, but that's not in our 5-year plan right now.
I understand that, but it's
Yeah.
it's,
But Akron Drive is
Is,
our
I
worst road
understand.
in the town right now that's not scheduled for 2024.
okay.
We are out there patching that. We could be out there twice a week.
I understand.
I drove down it today. It's not good.
Oh, I know. I know, we got a lot that aren't good. We have a lot that are gonna get worse, but, okay. So we're not using any of our loan money for general maintenance? That's just what I wanna make sure of.
No,
Any of the loan money,
and by general maintenance,
crack filling, crack seal, seal coating, any of that type of stuff.
no, chip sealing comes out of our, that account, that general maintenance account. That,
Your GTA,
well, the GTA isn't set aside just for roads.
I
GTA
understand that. You're using it for other things, your road material like mastic and
Yes.
your shouldering, which we already know are salt for October, November, which we already know we're short for.
Yeah, some of our regular operational costs, GTA goes towards.
So I just wanna make sure we're using the loan money specifically for major road work, like we originally planned.
Major road work that was on our 5-year plan, which is paving and chip sealing. Chip sealing is part of our 5-year plan that was approved. We don't separate chip sealing work from road pavement work versus what one we're charging it to. They both come out of the same account.
Does anybody have any other questions? Go ahead, Tom.
I do have a question. You can come. And since I wasn't involved in the prior discussion, am I correct to assume that in the annual budget, the town board has given you approximately $365,000 to repair roads this year?
Yes.
And I'm going to assume that we're gonna have, hopefully, that much for you the following year. But that doesn't get much road work done then, does it? I mean, because we're saying we're giving you, allotting 400,000, and for you to do 6 streets here, we're at $2 million. I guess my question is, are we gonna borrow again in 2 years and in 4 years, or how are we supposed to get you the cushion you need to maintain the roads? Because at $400,000 a year, it doesn't seem like it's enough money to repair the streets in Rome if we're borrowing 2.1 million this year. And I wasn't involved in the prior discussion, so I'm coming in here a little bit blind, Brad. I'm not trying
No,
to. Because at a $400,000 a year budget, I'm rounding up,
Yep.
get you one street done in the town.
Yeah, my first 3 years basically was 400,000 a year.
Okay.
And then starting last year, 2023, we took out the loan for 1 point.
It was 1.6 or 7. Well, explain to him where that money comes from though, Brad. That's GTA that comes from the state.
Okay.
That's GTA money, that's general transportation aids that come from the state to the town. So there's really no additional funding really that comes into the road maintenance budget,
Other than tax levy money.
other than tax levy money. So when you put additional tax levy money, which is why when you heard Chris earlier speak to us about capital improvement plans, we as a town have to be more responsible in the future moving forward, that when we plan and we budget, we use funds to build up so we're not borrowing. So last year when we borrowed that money, we borrowed it in a very smart way that when with our based on our Moody rating, it didn't affect our levy, and our credit rating was such that we could borrow it in such a way that the credit saved us money when we borrowed it. So now this year when we borrow it, again, it won't affect us the first few years, and our credit rating and our Moody hopefully will stay the same, that it won't impact us. So what I'm saying is that when we use this money, we use it on the roads we borrowed it for, not additional roads or general maintenance that the state is giving us our GTA for. That's why I'm trying to separate those two that I'm talking about. It was supposed to be for Archer Avenue. It was supposed, for Archer Avenue. It was supposed to be for Rapids Trail. It was supposed to be for Akron. And then it was supposed to be for Apache. But there's all this other work intertwined with this now. And that's why I'm trying to keep the two separate, so that we understand that if there's any money left over from those major 4 projects, we talked about investing that money or setting it aside and building it up with interest. Maybe the other board supervisors can help me if they recall that conversation. Because next year we talked about not borrowing again, because we don't know what our GTA, it only grew a little bit this year from last year's money. I think this year we got 408,000, and I think we got the 365 left. But there was a carryover of $47,000 that went into the general fund at the first of the year.
So let me back up one step then. So you're not only getting the 400,000 that the top board's budgeting, you're also getting money from the state, and that's the GTA fund, or am I not comprehending this
No.
right? No. Okay. Then I'm not comprehending here.
The GTA that we get, let's just say it's 400,000. The board can decide each year, do they wanna spend all 400,000 on road work? Do they want to spend 200,000 on road work and spend 100,000 on buying more salt or more gravel and doing more work? That's the money that we work off of to do various.
Okay.
And right now, he's short on shouldering materials, he's short on salt, there's not enough, there wasn't enough money there budgeted to carry.
I'm just trying to get up to speed. I'm
Yeah,
a little bit
I
behind the eight
understand,
ball
'cause
on
you're
this
new
whole-
to it. Yep.
And this whole
But
project,
what
that's
I'm
all.
trying to do is keep us from spending our loan money on general maintenance that should come out of GTA.
But I don't think this proposal's spending the loan money on general maintenance, because the grand total of the projects includes the budgeted money plus the loan money.
Okay.
And then if you add up all the things up above, they're melded together, but the numbers seem to work out in my mind, and then there's that 535,000 left over, which would then be carried forward or push up a project or carry forward to one of next year's projects. So
Yeah, but
it's
we're still short things in our budget. There's still things that are short in the maintenance budget. Correct?
Well, that.
See, Brad's saying, yes, we're short things in our maintenance,
Then
but,
we have to find that money someplace.
yeah, so,
We have to be very
Not out of the law.
selective the rest of the year,
exactly.
For some of that
So do we,
which is fine. We can make it work.
I like that answer.
You work with what you got, right?
you what?
You work with what you got.
Because we're not borrowing next year. We can't keep borrowing.
And I guess that's where, going forward, we'll need some more, I'll go back to my first start here too. I was told to prepare a 5-year plan based off of having roughly 400,000 a year.
Right.
Then 2 years ago, I was told to prepare a 5-year plan based off of doing an X amount of miles per year. Doesn't matter what the cost is, we'll figure out as we go. So now, if you're saying we aren't gonna take any more loans out, then I'll have to readjust our 5-year plan and go back to, if you can say, going forward, it's gonna be roughly so many dollars a year to work with.
Well, and this loan is based on the four roads that we had talked about that were in pretty bad shape. So, but I could see what you're saying about that other part of Akron. But I agree, but there's a whole lot of other roads that are in really, really bad shape too, so. And we know what might happen at Akron. I don't know, Jason, did you have something you wanted to add? I saw you kind of maybe.
I think you're gonna have to look at Apache Avenue. You're replacing a culvert to add a bike lane, but yet I'm hearing we can't afford to do the basic maintenance of the streets that we got here, so do you add that bike lane when we can't afford to upkeep what we already have here? Because the culvert's being replaced to add width to it, to put a bike lane on a road. But yet what I'm hearing from all parties involved here is we don't have the money to even redo the current roads we have, more or less making the asphalt wider than it exists current day without borrowing money. So you need to decide if you're gonna borrow more to do these projects, but Apache Avenue is on there for 2025 and that's 600,000. So if he's got 535 left, you need to add to that to do that project next year. If you do Akron, Apache Avenue's not gonna get done next year, nor are some of the other ones. If you don't borrow money, you're gonna kick them all out further. So I think you need to look at it whole picture and decide where you're gonna go with this. But if you replace a culvert this year and make it wider and then decide not to do a bike lane, you've expended $150,000 on a culvert that we didn't need to deal with that way.
But don't we also know, though, that those folks have said that they're not, I mean, that's going nowhere? I
No,
mean,
it's proceeding.
it's what?
It's proceeding. The plan's almost done. The property owners, everything's going.
Oh, great.
We should have a plan probably within a couple weeks, they said, the final plan.
Oh, excellent.
Start that we can advertise and bid that out to get done this year.
Well, in looking at it, as far as the potential 2025 projects, if there's approximately 535,000 left out of this year, and we have that approximately 400,000 in the budget, that's about 900,000. That's close to the Akron and Apache cost for, projected cost for next year. We'd still have to come up with a little more money. But I don't think realistically, when it's one thing to do the little $15,000 chip sealing projects. You know, you can do 20 of them for $300,000. When you gotta pave a mile or two of roads at 400 grand a mile, or whatever the current cost is for a mile of road, I don't know that it's realistic to not talk about borrowing. Because we don't have $1 million laying around in the general budget to pay for some of these big projects. You know, that's where the capital thing comes in, where we have to talk about the capital project and that idea of doing the capital project thing. So yeah, I think Brad's right. You know, a couple of years ago, he was asked to present a idea of, road budget at 400,000 a year, come up with a 5-year plan. What can you do for 400 grand? Then it was, well, we want to do X number of miles of road. Those two don't agree with each other, because 400,000 is going to get you about a mile of road, I think, right? Give or take.
Two maybe.
2 miles, okay, 2 miles. That's a little cheaper than last year then.
Well, and I was basing that not borrowing on something we had discussed earlier, and then something we had discussed with Moody's and, Ellers, and so that's how we got some of those other numbers. But, you can never say never. But
If we take a year off, then we just have that many more projects in
the next,
26.
yes, exactly.
If I can add too, though, if you're thinking about carrying over that 535,000 next year to do Akron, which needs to get done, which we have, I'm estimating at 475. We'll have to go out for bids. I keep in mind, I'm sure the costs aren't going to get cheaper next year.
Right.
To carry it over to do it next year, you might as well do it this year.
Once these roads are designed, how long is the design good? I mean, it's indefinite, or do they change stuff, DOT requirements? Like if you design Apache and then it doesn't break up any further than it is, you put the culvert in and now the pavement's good for another 5 years, is that design gonna still be good 5 years from now to go ahead with that paving project, or would we have to pay to redesign it at that point?
We'd probably be good at 5 years. It could sit in the shelf. It might need some minor tweaks at that point in time. If there are any standard changes, if DOT comes out with something that's safety-wise and maybe needs to be done different, but otherwise, no, that could wait.
And the Longboat Court, you've got in here for 20,000, some of that's gonna come out of that LRIP grant you got, right?
The construction, yes. 20,000 is.
But the design is not?
No, no. That's just the 63,000 that we get for the LRIP is for construction.
But the design has to come out of this, huh?
Yeah, it'll have to come from somewhere, yeah, but,
That doesn't, it's not included in the LRIP.
no.
And then, while we're on the subject of this really quick, you know that, is there any potential for us, applying for that ARIP in the fall? There's another round for ARIP in the fall, possibly for Badger, because there's one producer down there? With the,
We could try.
timber?
Actually, the meeting I was at earlier this week.
The
that
what?
is-
I'm
I was-
sorry.
We could try, a meeting I was at earlier this week when they kind of discussing that. You needed at least 2 agricultural
Oh,
businesses
2?
using that road. They need to show financially that because of that road, they can't haul on it. They need to show what their costs increase are by not using that road, and by improving that road, what they would save. So you need to get a lot of input from your private businesses as to justifying doing that road. And
Okay,
let's say Badger's 4+ miles or so, the cost to do that would be millions and
even with the
millions.
90-10?
Yes, because they're gonna wanna build that up to a standard that then that road will never have to get posted again. They're gonna wanna take that road and put more base on it, build it up, basically reconstruct the whole road, because that's part of the ARIP is they'll give you the money, but you can never post that road, you can never put any
Right, you
restrictions
can't
on
put
that
any
road.
weight limits on it,
Yes.
okay. So even with the golf course on the other side, we can't, okay, all right, darn. All right, thank you. All right, what's your, what are you thinking, Jason? Did you have any more input on this with Brad, what you guys discussed, or what are you thinking?
I would
What's-
recommend moving forward with the projects that were slated for this year. The question for the board is, what do you wanna do with the access? And when you make that decision tonight, how's that gonna affect, if you're not going to borrow next year, the roads that he has for 2025?
I guess keep in mind too, the 2025 plan that you see on the bottom of the sheet, that was based off a previous board recommendation of, that's why it's $2 million. If you told me I only had 400,000 to spend, that would look much different than what it looks right now.
What are the levels of need on those 2025 projects you've got listed there?
Akron Drive is number 1. That's the number 1 priority. Next would probably be, like I got kind of broken down the first sheet there, the chip seal of Badger Avenue. And third would be the chip seal of 15th Avenue. The Kingswood Trail, I applied for the tri-discretionary funding. We found out this week we did not receive that. We can try to apply that again in 2 years. And I guess for the new board members too, for the 5-year plan, in order to apply for LIHES grants, these roads have to be on your 5-year plan. So it might say we're doing it in 2025, that's just so I can apply for the grants. We can move that road around,
Okay.
do it, 26, 27, 28, but I have to have it on our sheet in order to apply for these
Okay,
grants.
understood. Yeah, I didn't realize that, thank you.
Yep.
Especially with those ones you gotta keep going back to the county with, right? Cause
Yes.
you're on that cycle and you get consideration for that. All right,
I move to approve the 2024 road plan as presented by the Director of Public Works, and also that he put the Akron Drive East project out for bid to see where it comes in, but reserve the funding authorization on Akron East to see what the bids come in at.
I'll second that.
okay. So we have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Cole. I'm gonna hope you got that.
That's what the recording's for.
All right, so, as it's presented by our Director of Public Works. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you very much. All right, moving on. Item number 12. Discussion and possible action, approval of recommendation from the Parks and Rec Committee for their self-service kayak launch that Visit Rome is proposing to be installed at Walden Park. You wanna come up, please? Sure.
Did you want me to kind of take you through just briefly through the packet, or
Sure,
just
that'd be
ask
great. Thank you.
questions? All right, so,
Introduce yourself.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm Lisa Kubis from Visit Rome. So the last couple months, have been talking to a company called Rent Fun. They offer self-service kayak, systems. Presented it to the Parks and Rec Board a few weeks ago, but I'm just briefly, I'll take you through the packet, if you have that.
No, we don't.
Oh,
That's okay, you can
Okay.
just tell us about it.
Okay.
Or hold up your slide if
Yeah,
you,
I
or
was
if you
gonna
gotta,
say,
just,
so this is what it looks like.
okay.
It's an 8-unit, self-service kayak system.
The license agreement.
Yeah, but it's down further.
We thought 6 kayaks and 2 paddle boards would be the equipment in this 8-unit system. All the reservations are done on someone's phone. They pay, they sign a waiver, they get then there's a means to unlock the specific locker with the equipment they wanted in the system. So it opens up, they use it, they've paid their $20 prior or whatever price we decide on. They use it for the 2 hours, they bring it back, they take a picture, upload the picture into the app, and that's how the company knows the equipment was returned. The picture, they can detect, hey, there's a kayak, there's a paddle, and there's a life vest. The company hires a local tech to check on the equipment every couple weeks. If there's a paddle missing or broken, they'll replace that. They have some inventory at their house. So this is something that Visit Rome would pay the initial cost. There is a revenue stream that would be attached to this opportunity. The company the Rent Fund company, gets 50% of the revenue stream. So if we wanted to do $20, which is, I think, pretty standard, for the 2 hours, we would get 10, they would get $10. So, and that's not something Visit Rome would want to capture that revenue stream. We were thinking Parks and Rec, or whatever you guys were thinking. Let me go through this a bit. So I did speak with the Parks and Director for Oshkosh. And they're very happy with their unit, no issues. They don't get calls. There is signage on the system where if someone has a problem with renting, they're calling their 1-800 number. So they're not getting calls. He actually said it's like it doesn't even exist for us. It just operates on its own. I think he said that they had it operational for 3 months, and it was $2,400 that they have a 4-unit system. So they were able to raise $2,400 in 3 months. Yep.
And how many kayaks are on this, Lisa?
We were thinking of an 8-unit system, and you can do a mix of kayaks and paddle boards. So we were thinking to start off with 6 kayaks, 2 paddle boards. He said at any point in time, if you see that something is not being utilized, the paddle boards are never used,
Swap them out?
they would swap them out.
What a great idea. Thank you, this
Oh,
is
yeah,
really
it's-
cool.
The
might
other
even
thing, I guess the big question is probably, if you're curious, the insurance. The user does sign a waiver. The company also has a $5 million policy He said they've never had an issue, never a claim. So in the years that they've been operational, there hasn't been any issues. In the packet, it shows you, they're all over the country. So, they've been operational for many years. There's some in Alaska. They did a bunch of installs in the Fox Valley this spring. So this was even, I saw a post on Travel Wisconsin, that the Appleton Tourism Bureau talked about this. So it's being more widely used.
Wow, what a very nice idea. Thank you for bringing it forward.
So we have the
Oh.
location license agreement and sponsorship, and Nick, did
I
you
can-
draft these? Can you
So I
speak to
can kind of
these?
segue off of that. I think that was a great introduction, and I would also say, as maybe a prefatory matter, this is a good example from our last meeting, to nod to Chris, of a collaborative effort between the town and Visit Rome. I say that as the introduction because you have two agreements here in front of you. Just understand though that the sponsorship agreement is not one that you're going to approve. The sponsorship agreement is just to see how this fits in. Sponsorship agreement is between Visit Rome and Rent Fund. The relevant agreement for your consideration is the license agreement. So that's a location license agreement. It would be proposed for Walden Park. And then just some of the relevant pieces, and maybe first to answer Supervisor Cole's question. Over the last, I'd say about month, we've been working with Rent Fund to work through both of these agreements to get them to the point that they are today. I do think that they are ready for your approval, with the only additional note that on Schedule B for the location license agreement, you'll see that there was a placeholder for the premises, just so I could get the actual address. So we would include in there Walden Park, 199 Walden Oaks Way, as that premises on that last page for Schedule B. Just the kind of the highlights from the location license agreement. It contemplates a 5-year term. The termination provisions are rather generous as far as how we get out of it if we wish to not continue on. It is up to us if there is no cause provisions in here to terminate the agreement if we wish to no longer have that on the premises. The license is to place that rental station for kayaks and paddleboards, and as you heard, there's a fair bit of flexibility as we see use as far as what is in there. I would also note that there's a fair bit of flexibility for where it's located. That's up to us. It's also up to us if we want to have something like a pad underneath. As you know, I don't know if that's going to be something that we necessarily want. In the event that we do want some kind of concrete pad or placement, kind of structure underneath it, that is not included when this would end and they restore. There is a requirement to restore the premises, when they remove the structure. That is something that's excluded if we do require, that kind of placement. If we put that in place, they're not going to remove, for example, the concrete pad. There is otherwise a requirement that they restore that premises to the original condition. As was mentioned, there's a shared revenue that's in the location license agreement. That's the important piece, as Lisa had mentioned. That is in this agreement, which means that it would come back to the town. 50% for rentals at the site. They also, interestingly, kind of have a nation-wide kind of operation that they do sell kind of a pass, I think, for use, and the pass is referenced under this nationwide membership fee. The share on that is 35%. Okay, if somebody utilizes the nationwide kind of membership pass to use all their locations, if they're renting for this location, it's 50%. Then, consistent with what was mentioned, the maintenance responsibility is the operators or rent funds or who they're utilizing. So that it sounds like it's pretty hands-off for us, other than to designate where the location is. Continue to monitor if there's any kind of repairs or things that need, so we can communicate that to them. And then if we do want to change the location, that's also in here, we just notify them. And I would just note that moving that location, that's up to us. But the cost share, the 50% cost share, would be reduced by any cost that they would incur in moving that at our request. Hopefully that's at least a general overview of the agreement that is before you this evening.
And I just wanted to add, I spoke to Brad. He would prefer, he thought a pad would be a good idea. He's already gotten a bid on that. So I was going to go back to the visit room board to see if that could be included in the project cost.
So I think it's worth noting the cost of this to visit Rome is $32,500 plus whatever this pad would be. So it's a nice contribution to the town for something that hopefully would be used. And it's kind of a pilot, wouldn't you say? If it's really successful, you wouldn't be opposed to having additional ones in other locations, possibly?
They also have other equipment. They have smaller lockers with pickleball equipment. They have cornhole boards in lockers.
The park plan's coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Park
I
plan's
even
coming out
suggested
tomorrow. Okay, let's-
snowshoes for something winter.
Any
So they have
any
all,
bicycles?
no bicycles, no.
They handle all of the billing aspect, and then they send you Visit Rome or the top, who are a monthly statement of what they're giving back to you. Is that how the payment process
I
works?
believe so. I guess we didn't talk about it specifically, but it's their app, so
So they're running the credit cards, they're taking their
Oh, yeah.
cut, and then
Yeah.
they're sending you back a check.
I can double check, but I'm sure that's how it works.
And in the wintertime, the stuff just sits there. They don't remove it in the winter, do
They
they?
remove the equipment.
They do
and
take
that,
the equipment.
That person, that local person would store that, but
And they put it back in spring?
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it really
Alright.
does.
I'll entertain a motion. I'll move that we approve the recommendation from the Parks and Rec Committee for a self-service kayak launch that Visit Rome is proposing to be installed at Walden Park.
Go ahead.
No, you do.
I'll second it.
All right, so we have a motion from,
Can you build into your motion, though, the approval of that location license agreement? You'll want to include that as well, since that's really the step to go forward.
And also, is the revenue gonna go to Parks and Rec Committee, maybe? Where's the revenue going to go to? I personally think it should go to Parks and Rec, so then they can turn around and use it for
I think that's a
other-
good, okay.
I would agree with that, too.
Okay, so I'll amend my first and you amend your second to include that, the revenue from this would go to the Parks and Rec Committee for parks features, and this includes the location license agreement. Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, our amendments, okay. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Visit Rome. Thank you for that presentation.
So this will be installed this,
they said 30 to 60 days.
Awesome. All right. That'll be great for the summer. Discussion and possible action, appointment to various town committees. A, Heather Dalton to Plan Commission, seat term expiration May 1st, 2029. William Capel to Plan Commission, seat term expiration May 1st, 2029. Megan Benz to Community Development Authority, seat term expiration May 1st, 2026. Bob Binkowski to Police and Fire Commission, seat term expiring May 1st, 2029. Reappoint Vito Gardino to Board of Appeals, term expiration June 1st, 2027. Excuse me. Reappoint Dave Newsom to Board of Appeals, term expiration June 1st, 2027.
Move to approve the citizen appointments to the various town committees as written in the agenda.
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay, we have we have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Gabriel for discussion.
My question is, some of these seem to be 5 years. I thought that most of the other committees in past years have been 2 or 3 years. We're jumping up to 5-year appointments. That's a half a decade. I do believe that some of these committees do need fresh blood on them periodically. I'm not all in favor of 5-year appointments. That's my discussion point of it.
The PFC, some of them are set by statute, actually all of them are set by state stats, so like the PFC is the 5-year appointment. That's a reappointment of Bob Binkowski, those are set by state statute as 5-year terms.
And
Plan Commission and CDA are by state statute as well.
they're all 5-year terms.
No.
And I think Board of Appeals is by state stat too, is it not?
Well, Megan's is only 2 years, so that's why,
Chief filling a seat, maybe?
Yeah, and some of them are filling empty seats that were left
Okay.
vacant.
all right, that explains it then.
So those are all,
Commission is 3-year terms.
say it again.
Commission, I believe, is 3-year terms. I just looked it up
That's
on the,
what I was thinking.
so Plan Commission would be 3-year terms?
I didn't think CDA was 5 years, or I don't know if I'd have signed up.
Yeah, that's,
Look up
Well,
the-
they're all varied. Well, you wanna look up the state statutes for them and verify it for them?
Yeah, I can. So CDA would be in our ordinance. Plan Commission is 3. Yep.
We had Wendy put, check these dates for us, and she had put them on there for you, Jason.
Correct.
well, really, you already covered them. You already said the plan commission's are 3-year terms. All the other ones are less than that, except for the police and fire commission, which Jason said is a 5-year term. So if we got that one figured out, then the other ones aren't that long of term, so really would
I
it
think
be?
the 2 were typos, they're supposed to be 27 for the plan commission.
Oh,
She mistype them, is that what it is?
I'm guessing, cause those are 3-year terms.
Is she, look in the
Well,
state,
I'll amend my motion then, to approve the citizen
think-
appointments.
I think he's looking them up, if we
Well,
wanna just double check.
Just to,
Double checking.
well, I think someone had asked about the CDA. Those are 4-year terms.
CDA is 4 years.
But she's filling a seat. So what is Plan Commission? That's what we're waiting.
3.
3, okay, so 3, that's, what is that supposed to be then?
27.
27.
Okay. PFC is correct then? And Board of Appeals is correct?
PFC, I know it's 5.
Yes. That's what I thought.
Did anybody check Board of Appeals? They're checking Board of Appeals.
You'd like me to check Board of?
Yes,
But that's only going to 2027 though on the sheet we have,
Yeah,
so.
it's 3 years.
we're good? Okay. So
the-
did you wanna amend your motion
Yeah,
then, Dan?
I'll amend my motion to correct the expiration dates of the appointments to the planning commission from May 1, 2029 to May 1 of 2027,
Okay,
3-year term.
do you wanna amend your second?
I will just second that then.
Okay,
There won't be any discussion. I'm good.
all right. So we have amended first and amended second on the first 2 appointments to 2027. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Discussion and possible action. Approval of request from the Lake Sherwood Property Owners Association for sponsorship of the Independence Day celebration. Normally, these come out of our Community Can Fund, and we usually set a limit on this. Does anybody have an amount or suggestion as to?
Which we have in the can fund right now.
Do we know what we did last year for them?
We usually set it at like 150. Jason, do we know the amount? I think the last time we checked, there was about 12,000.
So,
Yeah. So if someone would like to make a motion,
We don't know how much we gave last year for
About 150.
$150. Well, I'll move that we donate to the Lake Shore Property Owners Association for sponsorship of the Independence Day celebration at the amount of $150 or an amount equal to what we donated last year.
I'd second that.
okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Cole, second by Supervisor Gabriel to give a donation to the Lake Sherwood Property Owners Association for sponsorship of the Independence day celebration for an amount equal to what we gave them last year, or not less than 150. Okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action. Approval of the agreement for the municipal judge services.
I can give just a real brief background to this. So at the April 18th meeting, the town board appointed Judge Thibodeau as the municipal judge to fill the remainder of the 4-year term. State law requires that the salary of the municipal judge that's appointed due to vacancy be determined by contract. So this is an agreement that is required under statute to be in place for our appointed municipal judge for the remainder of the 4-year term.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement for municipal judge.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Supervisor Gabriel, second by Supervisor Cole to approve the agreement for municipal judge services. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action, request from 14 Mile Watershed Alliance for co-sponsorship of the State of the Lakes to be held on June 8th, 2024. Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Dave.
I'm Dave Trudeau. I'm the president of 14 Mile Watershed Alliance.
Yes.
I'd like to refine the request a little bit. We said up to $1,000. We kind of have a better handle on what's coming in and what isn't coming in. Which people rejected our request for donations. But now we're looking for up to $700 to help cover costs of the food for the event. It's a good educational event. Promoting the different things that are going on in the watershed and affecting our lake water quality. We're expecting participation again of about 250 people. So we'd like to, with the town sponsorship, we'd bring in an invoice to pay. There wouldn't be any money exchange between the town and 14 Mile. We'd bring in a food invoice for the town to pay. So we're asking for up to $700 to help cover that. And then if we could also ask, it would help us out if we could waive any fees associated with the kitchen rental and cleanup in the town hall, and or if there's any fee associated with permit for putting out road signs before the event.
What was the last part, please, Dave?
If we're going to need a permit to put out road signs before the event, if there's any fee associated with that, we'd like to have that waived.
Not sure.
And also we will, like we haven't before, we'll promote the town as one of the sponsors of the event.
Okay.
Questions?
Oh. No, thank you, Dave.
Did the town board give money last year?
Yes, they've done it every year,
Okay.
five previous years.
Okay. I just don't know the
What
background
was
of
that
some of
amount, so we could make the
Previous
motion?
years, it was anywhere from like, I think it was $1,100, $1,200 in that area.
I'll make a motion that the town board helps with the food costs for the 14 Mile Creek watershed, and that
For the $700 that he asked for, or how much?
for the $700.
And what about the room rental rate and the road, sign permit fee?
I think that we can waive fees on that as long as they leave it in the condition they find it.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Gabriel, a second by Supervisor Ebenson for a donation in the amount of $700 to co-sponsor the State of the Lakes event to be held on June 8th, including the waiver of fees for the room rental, the community room rental. Any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action, community room update status. Jason?
So with our discussions tonight, the community room was slated to be done, but I think moving forward with, if you're gonna move forward with Chris's study, there's some issues that need to be taken care of in this complex as far as offices go. If you're going to replace a full-time administrator, I can tell you the office that that person is in has no privacy. It also leads to other employees having to vacate their desk space when there's confidential items to avoid being in an awkward situation. You can hear right through the walls. Both the clerk treasurer and zoning administrator can hear every word that is said in that office. So I think I'd like to save some of that, the money that's allocated for that, to potentially move that administrator office behind this room and get new furniture and remodel that so there's a buffer between the rooms, and then we would look in the fall to redo the room. And I think we need to look around at kitchen stuff. The original estimate was to put a kitchen in there. Most places are going to warming tray type setups and not full appliances. I think we get some new bids on what we can do with that room. And I think also a big thing to do before that would be a sound system. We had trouble at the annual meeting. We've had trouble for years and years and years at both budget and any kind of meeting we have in that room. We can update the sound system and move the wiring through the false ceiling when they would, at such time as when they would replace that. But I'd recommend moving forward with the sound system part of that, so we don't have any more complaints the next time we have a meeting.
I think we also had a complaint about the visual part of our meetings as well.
Correct, that's what I
Televising it,
meant,
yeah,
audio-visual.
audio visual.
No action for tonight, just an update. I'd like to bring bids back at a future meeting to do those smaller projects.
Is it worthwhile? I know, I remember one of the recommendations in there was like a facilities condition study. If you mentioned in a potentially needing to move the administrator office and other changes, is it worthwhile getting some type of, I don't know, business interior architect, to lack of a better term, to come in and look at the footprint of this building and tell us, okay, it was a great footprint of the building when it was built, but it's not so great of a footprint anymore? Is it worthwhile to see if such a person exists that can come in, or do we have this, I don't know, do we have those skills within our staff currently that they could look at the layout? I mean, I know we're not gonna knock major walls down and things like that, but has that ever been looked at?
It sounds like a good idea, but I think that whoever specialist comes in, the budget they're gonna come back to us with is gonna be something that we can't do, and then in exchange for that, we just paid this consultant $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 that we could have just spent putting in the audio visual. I like your idea, but I think the bids that they come back with is not gonna be in the budget for us to work with. That, I guess at this point, I turn it back to the Jason and reevaluate the kitchen. And I would agree, when we do have these meetings, that the people at home do need to hear us and see what's going on. And it's not the first time there's been issues. I've listened to these meetings before. I had the joy of sitting at this desk at home, and I had a hard time hearing a lot of the people when they talk in the crowd, and even some of the board members. So I do think it's an area that needs to be addressed. And I think that we could probably spend the money, the limited amount of money we have, better than turning it over to a consultant to come in that we're not gonna be able to afford in the end.
You make a good point.
I will
So
work with
do
Brad
you-
and get some numbers together for the next meeting.
And I don't know what the original kitchen plans were. I heard this through the grapevine that we're no remodeling, but like you said, maybe we don't need the industrial stoves or ovens anymore. And we start, if people wanna use it, they come in with Nesco warmers, and we provide enough 20 amp breakers that they won't trip if they plug in 3 crock pots or something like that, because otherwise they trip.
Yeah,
So,
that's what Brad had mentioned, looking at something like that.
we'll put it on your plate.
Okay,
Any other discussion on it?
Okay,
Jason, come back and tell us.
yeah. There was one other question that came up too, with all the people that sit and wait to play pickleball, if they're gonna take the stage out, so you might wanna consider that as well, cause then they can get one more court in there. Anyway, moving along.
Brad and I had that discussion. I know for a fact when they put the laminate flooring on that stage, there is asbestos in that stage. so
Oh,
that
don't
Johnny-
touch it.
Don't touch this.
Don't,
Money's gonna get eaten up with the
Don't touch it.
abatement if you
Stage
touch that.
stays.
they could sit and wait their turn. I'm sorry, folks.
That's why
All right.
it's still there.
I know,
never
that's-
was asked on that, but
Yeah.
that's why
Okay,
that
sorry,
stage is
folks,
there.
you heard it.
Talked about taking it out.
You heard it
before
here first, asbestos. Okay. Discussion and possible action. Wake surfing, wake enhancement, boating ordinance update. Jason and Nick? Jason? Oh, sir, can you wait just a moment, please? We'll call you up.
He's been waiting all, for an hour, right?
So we've talked about this on several agendas. I've brought back my information from the DNR on enforcement of these types of ordinances, and the one in Diamond Lake, certain aspects of that. It's not recommended to do an ordinance like that prohibits a specific activity totally, so it's back on here for kind of an update. I was directed to model an ordinance after the Diamond Lake one. That's not feasible for us to do. I've reached out and had my staff reach out to numerous places that have wakeboarding ordinances. I've yet to find one that's actively being enforced that does anything other than regulate the times of the event or distance from shore. But as far as like running in a bow high manner or with water inflated in the boat, I don't know of any areas that have an ordinance that's being enforced where citations are being written, enforced other than signs at the boat landing saying, hey, you can't do this, and if people do it, nothing happens. So that's kind of where we're at from my end. I spoke with a staffer in Rosenbaum office, the attorney that Supervisor Cole had spoke to. They're willing to look at stuff with us if we want to, but off of the top of their head, they weren't able to provide me any municipality that has an ordinance that has police out writing tickets for violators on, other than those that restrict hours and distances from shore.
So I'm going to suggest, we're at a point on the board, we've been talking about this for how long? Tom, I think you kind of know how long, almost
it's-
2 years, maybe?
Yeah, it started with the last town chair.
So I think we're kind of reaching the point where it's time to like fish or get off the pot, so to speak. So what I would propose that I think the town can do, and I would mention, we as board members have received quite a few letters, emails from wake boat owners. Some of them are respectful, some of them really are not. But we do appreciate the letters that come in. We've done quite a bit of research ourselves with other municipalities. Jason has done research, so I'm going to suggest that the town adopt an ordinance limiting wake boating between the hours of 12 and 4 p.m. and leave all the other hours as are for boating, which are 10 to 8 p.m. I see you're shaking your head, and no, owners aren't going to like it. It's not going to solve all the erosion problems. It's not going to address all the concerns. But it seems we can't address all those. We can't ban wake boats. That's the ultimate that some people want us to do. We can't do nothing because 70% or a higher number of the people who live here want us to do something. We can't engage in a nanobubbler program when it seems counterproductive to have the wake boats out there. So I think we have to do something this year, give it a try, let the legislature see what they're gonna do for us, let DNR see what they're gonna do for us. Might not happen for 2 to 4 years. Meanwhile, we're trying to do something. So you're gonna hate that idea, I can tell by your posture. So, I mean, we invite you to speak and say what you have to say, but that's what I'm gonna suggest, because the town does have the ability to regulate the hours of operation.
Here's the thing,
I
you
do,
guys
may
are,
I just,
So,
here's the thing
and
you're
can
not
I-
looking at.
excuse me, I didn't call on you yet, Jeff, but I appreciate you're very anxious about this subject, but we need your name first. I know who you are, but we need it for the record, please.
My
We need-
name is Jeff Lauer, and I live at 268 Cranbrook Court for approximately 20 years.
Thank you, and now you may
I am the
proceed.
first person to have a surfboat on our lake and surf, almost 12 years ago, all right? If you set a time for people to go out on surfboats, there are 29 surfboats on our lake. If you set a time, you are gonna have more surfboats than have ever been on our lake at one time, all right? So you are not thinking about what that is gonna cause. Right now, you get a handful of surfboats at a time on the lake, from 10 to sundown, all right? We try to be courteous. I stay in the middle of the lake, all right? I have 1 million letters from people. You can't talk about erosion on our lake. Because if you're gonna talk about erosion, you have to get rid of the ski team. You have to get rid of all the people that pull tubers along the shoreline. You have to get rid of all the beach clubs that boats pull in and out of the shore and pull off the shore by accelerating. There are 1 million studies being done right now that a wake boat traveling 8 to 11 miles an hour at 200 feet off the shore do less damage than a boat my size driving 30 to 40 miles an hour close to shore. All right, so you guys need to do research instead of seeing someone doing something. I am a 65-year-old man that's gonna turn 66 in a few months. This is the only sport at this point in my life that I can enjoy a water activity. I bought a home almost 20 years ago on a lake that is a man-made lake that allows water activities. All right, so if people don't want to do water activities, maybe that's not our lake for them. All right. My wife has osteoporosis. The only sport she can now do is water sports, is surfing, because on a surfboard, you are not holding a rope. You are not getting tugged around. You are not wiping out hard and falling in the water. I am 65 years old and I'm not ready to sit up on my lawn and watch other people do water activities, okay? I want to do them as long as I am physically able. I understand other people don't have that passion. That's fine. They don't have to surf or ski. They can do whatever. But we bought a home here. We made an investment on a house. We made an investment on a boat to do these activities. So I don't want to sit up here and go over all the letters I have, but I mean, you guys aren't thinking this out. You can't put a time limit because you're going to make it worse. You don't think about when you have 10 boats out there creating a wave versus right now maybe there's 3 to 4. And last time the chief of police talked about people going out before 8 a.m. because it's not written in. No one does that. No one goes out before the time. Everyone I see that's not being respectful in their surfboat, I drive right up to them and say, hey, if you want to keep doing our sport, you need to get to the middle of the lake. I don't drive down by the boat ramps because it's a congested area, so I try to be courteous. I don't go on the small lake. When it's busy, we go to the big lake. So we do everything we can to comply, to do what we want to do that we're passionate about and not bother others. We've invited everyone in this room to come out and try it before that you shoot it down. An email went to the whole board inviting all you guys out to go and try it. So maybe you should learn a little bit more about it because we are all older and maybe you guys don't want to go out and be active. I do. I want to be as active as I can as long as I'm breathing air. I have 3 grandchildren and 1 on the way. I've introduced them all to surfing. It's something we can do as a family for many, many more years to come, hopefully. But passing a time restriction would be the worst thing you ever did because now you're going to be forcing 29 boats to go out at the same time versus a couple at a time that do it now. So
May I ask you, what lake are you on, please?
I'm by the clubhouse, the first inlet.
Camelot.
He's on Camelot?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now I understand.
That's
You've
why I
written
said
many
we go
letters,
on the
yeah.
bigger lake when the smaller lake is congested. But you know, you can't use the excuse of erosion and talk about a surf boat because all boats cause erosion. And you know what? When you own a lake house, it's part of your duty to maintain your seawall. It's part of what comes along with it. I live down a finger and I've had to redo my seawall. No one obeys the no wake anymore. People, I'll put up a camera and show you guys. In the channel, everyone makes a wake. Down my finger, everyone makes a wake. So, I mean, maybe those are the things you guys should concentrate, taking care of the restrictions you already have in place, instead of trying to make restrictions that are gonna hurt other people from doing activities with their family. The reason we spent the money and came to this town and bought a home and bought a boat.
Mr. Dollar, wait, before you leave, question for you. You mentioned that we have restrictions already and people are not abiding by them. They're going down the narrow parts, making wakes and things like that. So if we already have those restrictions in place, then are you saying perhaps then we don't need extra restrictions on the wake boats because you would already obey that particular restriction? You wouldn't be within 200 feet of the shore. You wouldn't go at that upper.
Daniel,
10,
I
11
never
foot.
drive against the shoreline. Ever since a few years ago, the discussion started about surf boats and people being annoyed, they said, hey, an email went out, I think it was from the board saying, can you please try and stay in the middle of the lake? I have done that every time I see a boat, a surfer, I drive up to them.
You're a responsible boat user. So
The
thank you.
only thing I'm not responsible, I do play my music loud, and I am guilty of that. But when you're behind,
honest.
We're okay with
when you're behind your boat on a surfboard, it's nice to hear the music and be in the sun, in the water. And, I mean, you guys have to understand, this is 2024. This is a new evolution to be able to go out on a boat and not have a rope and surf behind your boat. I mean, it's the most amazing feeling. I mean, I'm an old guy telling you guys this. Like, I'm not a 20-year-old kid that wants to go out and disrupt the lake and cause grief for everyone. I just want to enjoy my short ride on this earth as long as I'm here.
And please understand, this was a carryover from, not pointing fingers, it can't help, but it's been carried over and it's been brought to us, and now we're dealing with it. And as this subject matter gets worse and worse statewide and nationwide, we've got to do something because
But
people
you're gonna
keep sending us.
realize
I
as time
understand. I
goes on, All
understand.
these fights are gonna go on.
I know they
And
are.
now there's
I know
all
they are.
these
And we
things.
were
I have
left
a ton
with
of data
this.
right here showing you
I understand,
about
Jeff.
water and
I
waves and
understand, Jeff.
erosion.
I understand, Jeff.
So,
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying this was left over to us by a
I
previous board, and
understand
now
that,
we're
but
dealing
in
with
this
it.
world, you can look up anything and see what you want to see,
Right.
negative or positive.
I
There are
understand.
companies that'll do research and give you any answer you want to hear.
I understand.
I'm giving you answer from someone that does something, that's passionate about something, that
understand.
enjoys it. And I bought a lake home that I can enjoy the water,
understand.
not watch other people enjoy the water. I don't want to get pulled around in a tube at 65 years old. You know, I want to go out and be able
I
to
hear you.
live
We
my
we
life.
hear you. We hear you.
So,
So is there someone else that would like to? Okay. Well, he's been standing and waiting, so. Yeah, okay. Sure, Lisa.
So good evening. My name's Todd Persinger. I've had a home here on Lake Sherwood.
What was your name again?
Todd Persinger,
And then we need your address, please.
1056 Oxford Court.
Okay.
So we've had a home here 20 years. Actually, I learned to water ski on Lake Sherwood 50 years ago. So this has been our home, our heart for almost my entire life. Similarly, enjoy all water sports here, including wakeboarding. So I appreciate both sides of the argument. We recently acquired a wakeboard boat because we had our boat was destroyed in a car accident, oddly enough, by one of the marinas. But so we absolutely enjoy the sport as well. I grew up at a water ski show club, barefooting, and now at my age, that's a little more dangerous than just wakeboarding. So enjoying being able to go at those slower speeds. I know there's been surveys out. I know the feedback from a lot of folks is, hey, we don't like that sport. As I sat here, I was kind of looking at the village, our values. One of those values is inclusion, right? Embracing our differences and creating a welcoming culture for everyone. And so I recognize that the majority of folks have concerns about this, but in the 20 years I've been here, I think the same thing happened with jet skis, right? Nobody liked jet skis. We've learned to kind of coexist with people that jet ski. So I think over time, this is one of those things that I think it'll evolve. We'll find ways to make things work. So I recognize the majority of the community doesn't necessarily like it. I think if you did the same thing, survey on jet skis, you might get a similar kind of feedback. And I know you're in a tough spot, but you are the leaders of of our community with a value of inclusion. So I would just ask that you think about, from an inclusion standpoint, are we kind of siloing or alienating a smaller population because of a larger voice? And sometimes you have to, as leaders, kind of stand up and say, we want to be inclusive to the whole community. I know that's a difficult position to be in, so I respect that. The other thing is, I think it was called out, I know the DNR is looking at potential laws over, I think there's been a lot of conversations this year, potentially bringing a rule forward. So I know it is being considered at the state level, and that will be an evaluation that the entire state will take a look at. So with that, I guess, thank you for listening.
Okay. Thank
Just
you.
a question for you, just because I live on Sherwood too. So where do you wake surf then on Sherwood? Down on the bottom end by the dam?
Go by the dam,
Okay.
stay
'Cause
out.
I know down on my end, I'm at the Camelot end of that thing. You
Yep.
couldn't do it down there. It's not wide enough.
Yep. Yeah, very much. Once again, I do all sports.
There was one person ahead of you.
So we take all the kids out, whether it's tubing or skiing, and we very much enjoy canoeing and paddleboarding, so we want to enjoy all the sports. When it comes to wakeboarding, we're very respectful, same sort of thing. We go down by the deepest area, stay out in the middle. It's a very slow speed, and try to avoid the traffic and pick good times as well.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
great question.
Sir?
Thank you. Lisa,
I got-
oh, did you have a question?
Yeah. With the two of you guys talking, I hear wakeboarding, wake surfing.
It's the same type of boat, Tom.
Is it the same activity?
No, that's
Wake-surfing is 8 to 11 miles an hour, and wakeboarding could be 18 to 23 miles an hour.
There is no rope though in wake surfing, and there is a rope.
Just to get up, and the minute you get up on the wave, you throw the rope aside.
Wakeboarding, you hold a rope all the time.
Yes.
Thank you for the clarification. I just heard the words
and
being
that's
shot out.
yeah, and I think
I had to
just-
watch a video to learn.
So,
And to give a little background, wake surfing is it's a slower speed where you can go without a rope. Wakeboarding, it's a longer rope, but you do some of the similar things from a boating standpoint, which is why the regulation is difficult, where you'll add weight to the boat for the wake. And
Ballast tanks.
and so that's one of the things I think that's been a challenge from a regulation is you can have a ballast system. Our previous boat, we didn't have a ballast system. The way we did it was sandbags and
People?
and some very large friends. So
People do lead weights, they do sandbags, I mean, so even if you said we couldn't fill up our tanks, I can go buy a ton of lead and put it in my boat. A wakeboard boat and a surf boat in today's standards, the hull is already designed to start creating a wave.
Okay, thank you.
so I recognize you're in a tough position, but just from an inclusion standpoint.
All right,
1056 Oxford Court.
Oxford
Oxford,
Court.
okay, thanks.
All right, thank you. Lisa, you were next.
I just have something there. Lisa Kubis, 1493 Silver Canoe Trail. I just wanted to mention the,
Can you- Oh,
I'm sorry, what?
no, nothing.
Perhaps the value of Jackie's proposal is for those of us that kayak, paddleboard, pontoon, that the lakes wouldn't be as crazy for a portion of the day. So I guess I just wanted to, I think there's value in a time where the lakes aren't as crazy.
Let me ask you a question then. You said noon to 4? Well, jet skis and ski boats would still be out though, correct?
Right.
Go
I mean, I don't,
10 to 8 if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, so jet skis and ski boats would still be out though, right? So would it still be,
well, it would be obviously less crazy. I mean, we know that these boats create a bigger wave, correct?
Okay, I see what, okay,
Just
but thank
bigger-
you.
Bigger wave.
Bigger waves, okay, thank you.
There's a few boats on our lake that are almost 24 foot. that create
Lisa,
the same size
Lisa,
wave
her
height.
name was Lisa.
Okay.
Okay, and what's your name, please?
My name's Matt Skenesny. I'm a resident at 275 Warwick Court.
275 Warwick.
I'm going to need you to spell your last name though.
SKONIECZNY.
Get all of that?
What?
I don't know that she got all of it,
okay,
Matt.
okay,
Okay,
so
did
at
you
the
get it? Okay,
end-
thank you.
So SKONIE, C as in cat, Z as in zebra, N as in Nancy, Y as in yellow.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'd start to, I was gonna read a letter, but I'll go a little offhand first and then probably read my letter. Welcome the new Town of Board Road members. I have played many rounds of golf at Papa Bear's Golf and had a lot of fun there. And thank you for coming up earlier with your point about the kayaks. That would be so much fun to have that on Lake Camelot. And I would like to go off Jackie, what she said earlier, 10 to 4. And what Jeff was saying, the lake is going to be crazy. Or no, noon to 4. The lake is going to be absolutely crazy. It's going to be a wave pool, and you're going to force all the surfers to go out together. Also, we have I own Malibu Wake Boat, and by creating that ban, you're still going to allow me to go up at 10 a.m. and wakeboard, and my boat puts out just as big of a wakeboarding as wake surfing. So it's not going to really help your issue of wanting to kayak and paddleboard. And the kayak and paddleboard community, like, I like to kayak and paddleboard too, but when I kayak and paddleboard, I go out at 8 a.m. and kayak and paddleboard, or after 8 p.m. 8 a.m. or after 8 p.m. when the sun is setting and stuff. So there's times to do that. Also, Monday through Friday on the lakes, there's like no wake at all. So it's just the weekends that are busy. But now I'd like to go into my letter if you guys don't mind. So I'd like to start by introducing myself to you. I'm Matt Skenesny, a 26-year-old proud Wisconsinite. I'm an investor by day with a degree in finance from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, my own alma mater. This I will circle back to later. I've been coming up to the town of Rome and participating in water sports ever since I was 6 years old. I found a love for wake surfing because I'm a disabled person, which you could probably see. It allows me to ride behind a boat without holding onto a rope, which is advantageous given that I have limited use of one of my arms. I've spent countless years water skiing and wakeboarding, and I just can go for like little amounts of time because you have to hold on with 2 arms, and your arms get tired. With wake surfing, I can go for a lot more. I can do a lot of tricks and stuff. It's like a lot of fun. As you've heard from the countless citizens that have showed up here today, the emails you guys have gotten, everyone that has tried wake surfing has fallen in love with the sport like me. And there's nothing that makes me happier than riding a wave on a warm summer day in Rome, Wisconsin. If you collectively decide to ban wake surfing and take away an activity that has brought me much joy and contributed to my livelihood, I will not sit complicit with this. I will do everything in my power to make sure the ban will get repealed. There are countless reasons and arguments why this proposed ban is discriminatory in nature, unjust, and furthermore not supported by proved scientific and factual evidence. These arguments constitute and open the doors to legal action being pursued against the town of Rome for instituting such a ban. If a ban goes into effect, I fully plan on pursuing each and every one of these arguments, and I will not think twice before personally suing the town of Rome. I know that I will not be the only one pursuing legal action if the ban goes into effect. In addition to the other homeowners who you see here today and the emails you've received that live on the Tri-Lakes and own wake boats that will likely pursue legal action, it is very likely that boat manufacturers and local wake boat dealers will also pursue legal action. As an investor in Malibu Boats myself, I would like to give you insight to just one of the companies that you will likely be going against in a legal battle. They are the world's largest manufacturer of water sports towboats. That's not just wake surfing boats. They do cobalt boats, pontoon boats, saltwater fishing boats, and they are worth over $800 million. And they are traded on the New York Stock Exchange, which is how I'm an investor in I'm sure they would go toe to toe with the town of Rome to make sure their boats do not get banned and their reputation does not become tarnished. So I hope that you, the town of Rome, decide to put your efforts and the residents' taxpayer dollars elsewhere other than fighting off legal action that would be created by instituting an unscrupulous ban. I hope the board will focus your efforts toward constructive things, like something we talked about earlier, kayaks on the lake, and the paddle boards that I'm sure a lot of people will like and use. And be positive for all residents rather than just a small group of residents. And one thing I left out in my letter, but I want to go back to Jackie, she kept bringing up, is like 70% of people don't want wake boats on the lake.
In a survey that
In a
was taken.
survey. So, I mean, I went to college. I don't know how this survey was sent out, but with surveys, there's survey bias. Like, I never received this survey. I never contributed to the survey. So obviously I'm a wakeboard owner. I never responded to the survey. So where was this survey posted? Are these people more likely to own pontoon boats? I mean, you can't just say one survey is the main reason we're going to create this ban. Also, if you put out a survey to people, let's just say about, like someone said, jet skis. The people that don't own jet skis, yeah, they're going to be like, oh, I don't want jet skis on our lake because they're annoying me. What about the people about pontoon boats? I would say I don't want pontoon boats. They get in my way while I'm wake surfing. There's people that are going to say that, also the people that are kayakers and paddleboarders, they don't like any boats because they don't want to be paddling against any waves. So, I mean, the survey, it has some merit, but not a lot of, you have to further dive into that. You can't just say this one survey that we sent out a year ago says 70% of people don't like wake boats. Did you ask other questions too? Like, I just don't understand the survey. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. My dad wrote you guys all an email. He's not able to be here today. I'd read his letter, but I also don't want to waste too much of your time. It's getting late. But if you have any questions too, I'm here.
I must compliment you on your well spoken.
Yeah,
Very eloquent, colorful language, but well spoken. So thank you for
Thank
sharing
you.
your thoughts.
Thank you.
Sharing.
Thank you.
Did anyone else have any comments? Yes, you were waiting, and then ma'am, you were next, and if we can, yeah, thank you.
I'm Greg Schaefer at 839 Richmond Way.
Greg Schaefer,
So I'm on a beach club. I got three things. I've got nothing written. I had no thought about this until I heard things I heard tonight. And I have to talk about it. One is going to be the time that you requested, Jackie. I want to talk about the kayaking and the survey. First of all, I'm a pontoon boat owner. I live. I don't have I live on the big lake. I love it there. Please, good Lord, Jackie, do not put a time limit on this. You have any idea how shitty it is for me to go on my pontoon boat on the weekends between noon and 4 or 2 and 4, whatever numbers you had? That's when everyone wants to go out. I mean, in the summertime, I watch the lake all the time. Everybody wants to go out. I want to go down to the tavern or the lodge. I really do. It takes me 45 minutes from my house to get to the lodge. And then I want to come home after the entertainment. If I have to fight all these boats out there with these huge waves, that's ridiculous. These guys don't make them. The truth is, I've been up here for 15 years. One time, a wave accidentally got in the bow of my boat and pushed the water back. Good Lord, if that's the worst thing that happens, I can't even tell you. It's the timing thing. Do not do that. It is a horrible idea. Anyway, the other part of the timing is the place that you missed within observation is that from 4 o'clock until sundown, no boats are out there. Nobody's out there. They do a late night cruise, but they're eating dinner. The only people that are out there at that time are surf boats. It's calm, and there's nobody else around. Don't congest it up where everybody wants to be up there. It's the evening that the surf boats truly want to be out. That's about that. The kayak thing makes me laugh. If you are so nuts to go out on a kayak during the summer in open water and after 10 o'clock, so be it. Before 10 o'clock, everybody on the lake knows it's for kayakers, it's for people that fish. You know, nobody else, I live there full time. Nobody else is out, nobody's surf boating or anything else. You gotta be smart. In the summertime, if you want to kayak, do it before 10. And if you're so stupid to do it during the day and go down the channel with a kayak, so be it. It's your deal, not mine. I don't care. I'm just telling you, there's a lot of boats on the lake. Don't be so ridiculous to kayak when there's all those boats. When you have a lot of time in the morning. Also, I live there full time. You can kayak from sun up to sundown during the week. There's no one out there, and it's beautiful. The weekends, don't do it, please. Last thing, again, I don't have anything written down. The survey, whoever put that together, it was so slanted I can't even tell you. The way the questions were put together were slanted against surf boats. Every single question, please go back there and read it and determine who put it together, because it was slanted. Every question was slanted, okay? I don't care if it's one of you up there. It was slanted to hate surf boats. It was set up so that you would answer it to hate a surf boat. Again, I have a pontoon boat. I will never get a surf boat. It's not my deal. But don't make these restrictions on our lakes because of a surf boat. You'll ruin it for everybody else. Putting it from 10 to noon or noon to 4. Oh my God, please don't. Please don't. Thank you.
Anybody? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Tanya Klubertans. I live at 865 Richmond Way. So my family and I have been coming up here for 25 years. We first started coming up here with my father-in-law, who built a cabin over on Marlborough Court. We had 3 small children, actually 2 when we first started coming up here. And we loved to partake in everything the lakes had to offer as far as pontooning, tubing, fishing, swimming, everything. So in the fact that it was only an hour and a half from our permanent home made it a movie's worth to bring 3 kids up. So it worked perfectly. So we decided about 11 years ago to purchase our own property with a little bitty sliver of shoreline so that we could have one boat. That ended up being a ski boat because I grew up skiing with my family. And I wanted to pass those skill sets along to my kids. My daughter, my middle daughter, is currently on the Mad City ski team, was previously on the Shermalot ski team. So, and then I've got 2 other kiddos who take part in other water sports. So it's a huge part of my like what we do as a family. They're all now teenagers. And it is very difficult to bring them all together to do something that we all love. And it's the one thing we got. We got 3 months worth of summer, technically, that we can get out on that boat and, you know, enjoy the summer together. And they still wander up to spend time with me. So again, I'm just giving you a little backstory of the fact that I have been in the Rome area for a very long time and enjoy it immensely. I love the fact that I can come up late on a Friday and stay late on a Sunday, and we're on the boat all weekend long. So I am the owner of a wakeboard boat. It is something new to me in the last couple of years. I normally am just a slalom skier. Wakeboard is part of what my kiddos do, and then some tubing. So for the last couple of years, there's been some chatter about the wakeboard boats and some of the concerns revolving around it. To my understanding, it's multifaceted. Some, it's just simply a nuisance. Some have mentioned some safety issues. Some have had concerns about their shoreline erosion. Some say that it can cause an issue with transferring invasive species from one lake to another. And so I was very confused when these surveys come out because they are non-specific, they do not lead with facts, They do not lead with research. They do not lead to why they're asking the question of, why do you like wakeboard boats? It makes no sense to me to ask a question to the public without leading with facts, knowledge, unbiased research. And I have from day one just wanted to know, is it causing these issues? Are there safety issues? Are we having invasive species issues? Or is this just a matter of, I don't like wakeboard boats? And the way the question was posed in the DNR survey did feel very discriminatory, simply against wakeboard boats alone, right? It didn't lead with any facts. It doesn't have any research. I went to a DNR meeting several weeks ago in Madison, and there were a couple individuals that came up and spoke, and one was, can you tell me what the website was that the author? No. Okay, so there is a website out there led by several people throughout the state of Wisconsin, trying to ban wakeboard boats. My understanding that the DNR had explained that evening was that the author of this particular question was the author of a group of that group, right? So I find it unacceptable that whether it's the DNR, and I'm assuming it's the DNR that put out this survey. I don't know if it was the town of Rome. There was a DNR survey and then there was a town of Rome survey, correct?
Yes.
They were both posed in the same similar fashion, and it was just a very general question about, do we like wakeboard boats? That's not enough information. And it doesn't tell us why we are concerned about this issue, right? Obviously, we all hear the chatter from our neighbors on what their concerns are, but we go to this DNR meeting, and, you know, somebody spoke up and said it's about invasive species. I can appreciate that all day long. I do think there should be some regulation against that. But there are a lot of boats outside of just wakeboard boats that have ballast systems that can carry those invasive species from lake to lake. So then again, it shouldn't be discriminatory towards just wakeboard boats, okay? A lot of boats will do that. If it is a shoreline issue, let's just see that information, because there are a lot of boats kicking up a lot of wake that are going, 50 yards from the shoreline that can cause that damage. And so where's the proof that it's just a wakeboard boat causing the damage on a shoreline, okay? Safety issues. I have not heard any to date of any incidences that it's causing safety issues, drownings, boating accidents, anything of that nature. I have done my research. I have not seen anything out there as to date. I'm not omniscient, that maybe, again, I'm just asking whether it's the DNR or whether it's the Board of Rome to lead with facts, not lead with fear, lead with information. And I don't think, so it goes down to the last reason that I've heard about, which is just a nuisance, okay? I am a responsible boat owner. We go out at the first thing at 10 o'clock in the morning to try to get in a half an hour, 45 minutes before everybody else gets out there. If it's a busy weekend, especially on those holiday weekends, I tell the kids we're not wake surfing. It's not fair when I've got, a racetrack of boats going around and around in circles to be kicking up that kind of wake. I get it. I'm also the kind of person who, on Lake Camelot, you got to go right down the middle to hit up that 200-yard rule, and I am right down the middle. I am doing everything I can as a responsible boat owner to be fair to everybody else around me, but still enjoy my sport, my hobby, my family time. So if it's just about nuisance, I don't think that is a fair reason to just eliminate it on our lakes altogether. You had proposed that there was some time limits, and I can appreciate, we got to come to some kind of resolution, fair resolution, and I get that, but I'm not sure that is 100% the solution. One thing that I would like to mention as a possible to help the situation is to increase and I've been saying this as a skier for many, many years. I think this community was built when fishing and hunting was a priority for this community. So I can appreciate all day long, I love to fish myself, the fishermen's hours. But till 10 o'clock in the morning, that's a long time to give fishermen. Many of them up are in my bay at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's a long time. That's 5 hours of free time just for a very small population of fishermen. So I'm just wondering if that might be just a possible solution, just to extend the water hours to, in general, right? That would help spread out the use of the lake. Because there may be those skiers, and I can tell you as a skier, we want to get on the water when it's glass. You know, that might help, you know, kind of spread out the use of the lake in general. Again, I've been up here for a very long time. I've seen that lake get busier and busier and busier. And so that would help in general as well. So that's just my 2 cents. I just want to say that I think the surveys that have been put out are not leading with facts, they're leading with confusion. And I don't know that why people are actually responding yay or nay if they don't know why we're asking the question. Okay?
What lake are you on, please?
Camelot.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Are you on upper or lower?
She's on lower.
All right,
Thank you.
anyone else that hasn't spoken yet?
She's on Richmond.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Matthew Kaler. I live at 351 Quiet Waters Trail. I'm an avid water skier. I'm on the water ski team. My whole life is built on water skiing. I've been skiing since I basically moved here. A problem I have seen about the wake boats is some of them are kind of blinded when they are going their speed, which causes the boat to be up in the air like this. I could say about 2 times, 3 times that I have almost been hit by wake boats because they cannot see me when I am in the water. If you fall or something like that, the boat towing me has to do a big circle to get to me. In that amount of time, there are big boats that can be following you, and I know there's a bunch of people that are really responsible when they are driving their wake boat, but there are some people that do go over the top with how much weight they have in their wake boat, causing it to be at a very extreme angle. Just wanted to keep in mind that there is people out in the water swimming. Me personally, I've been, like I said, in pretty near vicinity of a wake boat. I've had to wave my ski in the air and stuff like that to ward them off. I just wanted you guys to keep that in mind, and yeah.
Is that on Lake Arrowhead?
Yes.
Quiet Waters Trail, you said?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Can I say one
Just
more thing?
briefly, please, because it is getting quite late. All right, Jeff,
So
come on up
last
here.
year, we were out on our surf boat and my son fell in the water and almost got run over by a boat. So it doesn't have to do with a specific boat. You
I
have
understand.
to pay attention.
Right, the lakes get
I am always
crowded,
conscious.
yes.
I do not go by anyone. If someone falls down, when you have a surf boat, you have the option to make a wave on either side, right? If someone falls in the water, I always pass them with my weakest weight. I do everything I can not to upset people because I am not out there to upset them. I'm out there to enjoy with my family.
Okay.
So you could get run over by anyone because the problem is people are looking back at their tubers and not looking where they're going. So it doesn't matter how high your front end is. Most of us all that own surf boats constantly look because I have a huge mirror that's about this big that allows me to look forward and see my passenger.
Matt, just quickly,
Yeah,
please,
I'll
and
say
then
something.
board members.
Yeah, I want to say something very quickly. I also agree. I mean, people are way too close to boats on the lakes, and instead of focusing on creating new laws, just banning one type of boat, why don't we create laws or focus on getting more police out there to police the lakes so these things aren't happening.
We already, and we've done
We
that,
have
but
done
we've done that. We've got 2 boats with 4 officers, and it's, we enforce what we can, and it costs money. It costs money. So, and we're trying to find officers as it is, and people complain, and we do the best we can.
We should
So-
clarify, you keep mentioning banning the boat. We haven't talked about banning the boat.
Yeah, we haven't talked about, banning anything.
The only
but
thing that's been
Did you wanna
mentioned
say
is
anything
limited
quickly, Joe?
hours.
Just, but, yeah, we gotta,
Sorry.
we're getting late. No, you don't have to apologize, but.
Joe Pollock, I'm at 315 Dover Court. I also own the boat barn here in town, so I may be shooting myself in the foot with a few customers. But I am a wake boater, and our family started probably about 6 years ago. And we were out there trying to figure it out ourselves, and Jeff actually stopped his boat and taught our entire family how to surf. So it is a very tight community. You've heard pretty much everything that everybody has to say. Everybody's very similar. There's a few things that I think that we should focus on. Is one, it hasn't been held up in any other city in Wisconsin, right? So why are we doing this, right? Whatever happens, I think that the community is large enough to where it will affect your budget, and let's just table this and leave it up to the state. That's my suggestion.
Your address again, please?
315 Dover Court.
Dover, D-O-V-E-R.
Just have one question, since you've expressed it is a relatively small community, and there's, I don't know how many, 29 wake boat owners? Would you entertain the idea as a group or representative from your group of coming together with other people? There's a lot of people that don't feel the same way you do. You understand that, I hope. We're just trying to balance both groups of people, try to keep everybody happy. So let me finish first, but would you entertain the idea if we were to have some sort of talking group, bringing you all together? Do you see in your mind, in your group, any means of compromise? Is there anything at all that you would agree to? So we say 12 to 4, we say, if we said anything, is there anything at all you'd agree to?
Here's the thing.
I guess first I'd just like to,
And you can drive a car. Does that mean everyone's a capable car driver?
well, that's a silly question.
You have a, no, it's not, because
I'm
you have a
sorry.
bunch of boaters. Does that mean everyone knows how to operate the boat that they own?
Excuse me, though, but I
Does that mean they
think-
know how to drive into a wave or around
Oh.
a wave?
I think all I'm asking.
Yeah,
and
I think a point of order, okay?
Just by the answer to your question, your answer is no, that you would not see any method of, and that's okay if that's the answer.
Because I said before, when it's crowded, I go to the big lake because I don't want to disrupt the small lake.
Do you ever consider Lake
When
Petenwell?
the big lake, when the small lake is empty on a Sunday night and everyone's gone home and my house is right there, I go and surf on the big lake. But when it's crowded, we don't.
Okay, I think point of order, because I think this is individual, yeah, and come up to, but someone's raising their hand, and I think this is individual conversation now versus a board talking to the audience. So individual conversations, groups, whatever, but this is a board, and I don't know that we all agree on the same level now. Ma'am, you raise your hand briefly, please, and then we have to move on.
I just wanted to address you, Jack.
Could you come up to the counter, to the podium, please? And then we're gonna take a brief recess for 2 minutes, and then we do have to move on this evening, but I do appreciate everybody's comments, but I think things like this in groups but just briefly, please.
Okay. So I just wanted to kind of address you. I think that my feeling is that us as wakeboard boaters are a tight community, and we would want to try to come together at very least to try to come to some kind of compromise. I don't think we want to be labeled as the bad neighbors. I already feel ostracized out on the water, I don't want to feel that way on my lake. I don't want to feel that way on what I have built up here, okay? I don't want to feel like that. So I want to create, a calm, I want to work together. The only thing that I'm contesting is, why is it our responsibility to give, and why are we being kind of targeted as the boat owner, okay? That's what I'm contesting here, because I feel like there's we're not taking the 70 or 80 or 90% of people that said, I don't like wakeboard boats, and asking them why, what is the issue here, okay? And we're just now laying it on 30 other boat owners to come up with a solution. That does not seem fair, and it seems targeted and discriminatory. And so I feel like we as a community need to come together, and I'm willing to be assistance to that. You know, I want to be a part of this community as a whole, but I'm not, and if that it takes the wakeboard boaters to do that, that's fine. I'm just not sure, you know, I don't know what compromise that means, that we don't look like the bad guys, okay? I don't want to be out on the water feeling like when one of my kids drops, I got somebody behind me who wants to run her over just because they're pissed off, okay? I don't want to feel like that. So yes, I think we are a close community, and I think that we've all been up in Rome for a very long time. We like this area. We want to make this work. I think that is very clear down in Madison, here in Rome. We definitely want to make this work. So just to answer your question.
I guess the comment I want to make is the thing that's really starting to concern me about our community is sides on everything, and it's really starting to make me feel very troubled about our town. I'm going on 50 years here. I'm a transplant from Milwaukee, and everything from flowers to the types of food and the boats we drive and the lake and the water. I mean, whatever. But, you know, if we want to get together and solve problems, I'm just going to say really quickly here, that survey that was drawn up was a previous board prior to both me and Jackie. Then I was on the board, and now this board is here trying to figure this out. And that survey, Jackie and I originally agreed, and then Dan, it was anecdotal. We didn't even like the questions, and now to use it to say that, but bottom line is,
Somebody got a dent in their boat.
or quite frankly, I hate to say it, their wine glass tipped over. Okay, I'm sorry, you know, but joking aside, we got to solve a problem here, but you know, it's ordinances. The state has told us there's a problem. A town got sued. I don't want our town to end up in the state Supreme Court. We've got road. Let the state decide, and apparently they don't have the guts to do it. And, but anyway, I'm sorry, folks. I'm getting just a little worked up here tonight.
Well, first, to your comment about us being divided, only thing I was gonna say, and it's gonna sound snarky, but welcome to the 21st century.
Yeah, but anyway, I
However,
don't
that
want
being
it to be
aside-
that. I want to see us work things out, but we're not going to solve this problem, and the state's not helping us.
But I
You
just want to
know?
ask one question. I don't drive a boat that creates any type of a wake. I have a trolling motor powered pontoon boat, okay? So, you know,
I fish from
used to-
shore.
right. But anyhow,
I used to have a
we already
pontoon
have
boat.
hours that we regulate when the big motors can be out on the lakes, right? Is it like 10 to 10 till sundown? So we already regulate when the boats that produce, whether it be a wake boat or a pontoon boat or a ski boat, we already, or jet ski, we already regulate. That's already exists, correct, Chief?
Yes.
Interim administrator.
Correct, for
10 to 8.
And it's probably fairly hard for the two CSOs of the two boats to
With 4
be everywhere
officers.
all at once. They can't be everywhere at one time. So it's the luck of the draw if you get caught or not caught if you're breaking the rules.
correct.
Okay.
Like driving your car.
All right.
Also, for us beginner surfers, it's actually harder for us to surf when there's another wave coming out at us as well. So we try to pick our slots. If we don't see a boat out there, we sneak out, right? That's why we go out at dinner. That's why we go out at 10 a.m. That's why we stick down straight down the middle, because if we're surfing, my wife won't surf unless it's glass out there, because if another wave comes at her, she falls, right? Because she's a beginner. So we know when to go out. If we're contained to a certain time period, it will be a mess.
And I apologize for but I just don't want us to be so divided over something people want to have fun for, and we're all here for the same reason.
None of us want to fight.
But anyway, can we move? What do we? I don't know. The thing is that the attorney even told us
There was no motion.
Okay.
there was no motion on the floor. It was just an update. And if we, what do we?
Well, all right, I'll make a motion.
Discussion with a possible action,
I-
but
I make a motion that the town of Rome table any discussion of further restrictions on motorized use of our waterways until such time as the state of Wisconsin has arrived at a decision.
I second.
all right. We have a motion by Supervisor Minter, a second by Supervisor Evenson that we table all further discussion on. Please repeat it for me for the clerk
Table
treasurer.
all further discussion on any further restrictions on motorized use of our waterways until such time as the state of Wisconsin has reached decisions.
Is there any more discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a question. What is the distance from shore that the boats have to be?
100 feet.
It's 100.
100 feet from shore.
Let the chief,
That's
can we have the
incorrect.
chief, folks, please. Can we please have the chief
100 feet from
interim?
shore or 100 feet from a dock, raft, or pier. Jet
Oh,
skis are 200 feet from shore.
Little ski
But I
boats.
use the same as a jet ski just to keep my wave away.
But the law
Is
is what interim administrator Chief Laube stated for clarification purposes, so you have your answer. All right, any more discussion? We'll take a roll call vote, starting on my left, please.
Stevenson, yes.
Minter, yes.
Jumati, yes.
Cole, yes.
Gabriel, yes.
All right, you have your answer, folks. That's it until we hear from our legislators.
Thank you, everybody, for
We're
coming
gonna take a
tonight.
3-minute
Appreciate
recess.
it.
Want to just hit this real quick, and then we can go into.
Lori,
You got private, you got closed session
Oh,
after.
all right, let's do,
This is an
Jackie,
easy one.
Jackie, let's just do this liquor license quick and then we'll
Stick
go to
around.
closed session.
It's, because this isn't easy, and
Yeah.
then we can go into closed session.
Approval of a temporary Class B
Just give us
retailer's
2
license
minutes. We got
for,
one more thing to do, and then we're all walking out.
approval of a temporary, we're gonna do this quick, Jackie.
Yeah.
Temporary, sorry, it was my fault, I didn't realize we had
good,
one
I'm
more
good.
before
We're good.
closed session. Approval of a temporary Class B retailer's license for Rome Snow Bandits to sell fermented malt beverages
Hey,
at the
shh.
Rome Classic Car Show, Bike and Snowmobile Show on June 15th, 2024 in the Rome Town Center Park.
Move to approve the temporary Class B license for the Rome Snow Bandits for the event in the Rome Town Park.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Gabriel to approve the temporary Class B retailer's license for the Rome Snow Bandits for their car show and June 15th in the Rome Town Center Park. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll take a brief
Cole, yes.
Gabriel, yes.
Okay, we are now in closed session. know what?
I'm getting a call.
We have to have fun at this hour of the night, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You said we're ready.
Oh, we are?
If you wanna call us back in.
All right.
I move that we return to open session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19 point, whatever it is.
Oh,
I'll second that.
we have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Evenson that we come back into open session, whatever. No. Section 19.85, sub 2. Roll call vote starting from the left.
Evenson, yes.
Minter, yes.
Jumati, yes.
Cole, yes.
Thank you
Gabriel,
very
yes.
much, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go get your prime rib. They might still be serving.
All right, so do you have a motion for us, Supervisor Minter?
I move that the Town of Rome Town Board authorize the interim town administrator and the town attorney to begin the process of splitting the clerk treasurer position apart into a treasurer / finance director and clerk position.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Evenson to authorize the interim administrator and town attorney to begin the process of separating the clerk treasurer position into a position of finance director treasurer and clerk. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I have a further motion.
Okay,
I move that the town board authorize the interim town administrator to enter in discussion with interested parties to pursue obtaining some accounting finance assistance in the time in which we are pursuing the creation of the finance director position.
I'll second that.
okay, so we have a motion by Supervisor Minter, a second by Supervisor Gabriel to pursue financial
Yeah, that
advice,
the interim administrator has the authorization
Authorization of the
to
town-
speak with
financial
relevant
advice.
parties about the interest in filling in until such time as our position is created.
Okay, did you get that? You'll watch the tape. All right. Boy, we are all getting punchy, aren't we? All right, any more discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any other motions?
To adjourn.
Oh, wait, we gotta talk the meeting dates and all that stuff.
No, but did we have any other motions? Did we cover everything for you, Jason, that you needed?
Yeah, we covered everything.
Okay, you've got everything?
Yes.
All right.
Skipped 22.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
good on
22
that.
is done,
Oh,
right?
we're gonna, we've
That's
got
fine.
homework. We're supposed to do our homework on that. And then, oh, where's my next page? Oh, here. We got our, oh yeah, we've got all of that. So we did 23. All right, dates and items for future agenda items, or future agenda and meetings. Next agenda items, it'll build itself.
Well, yeah, we're gonna have some plan commission recommendations.
Yes. Preliminary and final plats, I believe, or final plats, we'll have that, but it'll build itself.
Final and preliminary.
Yep. All right, so let's just go right to next meeting date and time is May 16th at 5 p.m. Actually, please, if you would, supervisors, hold open 3 p.m. for a possible, 4 p.m. for a possible special meeting. I think just hold open that afternoon at 3 p.m. if you can.
Maybe early.
I think something was set aside for that date. All right, if you would, please.
Yeah, my kid will be
Thank you.
home.
You can
Yeah.
do that, right?
Yeah, once he gets home from college, I'm fine.
Yeah, and you can too, right? 3 p.m.?
Not easily, but if I have to.
4 would be better.
All
If
right.
it's not gonna be a long
Yeah,
meeting,
4
let's
Yeah.
go
would
to
be better
4.
for me.
Much better, but
All right, 4. I think we were tentatively talking about, but we'll know for sure closer to that date. A special presentation. All right, thank you. All right, anything else? All right, meeting adjourned.